Yes, you read right. Final Cut now finally supports auto track, and I'm going to show you how to use it, how to tweak it, and also where its limitations are. What up guys, my name is Final Cut 10.6 and welcome back to another Eddie Bear. In today's episode we are going to talk about some of the new features that Apple released with their new hardware within Final Cut. And we finally did receive auto tracking capability in Final Cut. This is amazing because for using something like this you had to resort back to third-party plugins in Final Cut, and that sometimes tended to be messy because it either was super slow or it broke whenever Apple released a new update. But since we now have it inside of Final Cut and it is using machine learning, it is unbelievably fast. So I'm going to show you some use cases and how you can actually make good use of it, but there are some caveats which Apple hopefully fixes in the future. But let's head into Final Cut and let me show you what you can do with it. I prepared this sample footage where we have the van on the side, and we are going to drop a call out that is going to track the car here. You can use all sorts of items to drop onto your footage. You can use generators, you can use titles, whatever you have at your disposal, you can throw onto your footage so it's being tracked. The easiest way to do this is you take your designated item you want to apply to your footage and drop it onto the object you want to be tracked. And you can see here that Final Cut automatically recognizes certain objects if they're big enough. However, you can also just drop it somewhere in the middle of your footage and then you can adjust your tracking box accordingly to your subject. However, we will do the easier way and just drop it onto our object. So to make it more precise, I'm going to zoom into my footage and move the tracker box over to the car itself. Now I can adjust the form of the tracker box so I can make it more of a cylinder, and I can also adjust the length and the height of the whole box. So I make it a little bit bigger so it's more onto the car, and I will also adjust the edges a little bit so we don't have so much unnecessary trackable space here. Okay, now here on the top left corner you have the tracking controls. You can either track left from the playhead, right from the playhead, or go into both directions. We are going to do both, but before we do that, I'm going to apply my call out over the whole snippet. Whenever you're triggering the analyzing process, it will do it for the whole clip, no matter how long your effect you're applying is. So let's make it easy for the sake being and select analyze. By the way, the tracking you're witnessing right now happens in real time, so this was not sped up and this process is the slowest of the two available ones. Now you can see here that it says combined, and I will explain to you what that means in a moment. Also, you get a nice preview here what the tracking does for you and where it is tracking. So let's zoom out and adjust our call out effect here for a moment. Let's move the text a little bit more down here and maybe like this so it's a little bit more appealing. All right, let's go to the beginning of the scene and just let it run. This is how easy it is to track an object. Now let's talk about the analysis methods for a moment. If you select the underlying clip and you go all the way down to trackers, you can have this drop-down menu where you can choose between combined, machine learning, or point cloud. Depending on the scene you're tracking, sometimes it helps to switch the tracking method. In this case, we leave it to automatic, select the tracker, and hit analyze. In this instance, it's using combined in order to track the subject, which means it's using machine learning and point cloud at the same time to even out some imperfections. Let's see how it looks. You can see that it is a little bit jumpy, and that comes down to the point cloud settings. But you can change these if you go to the drop-down menu, select machine learning, and hit analyze again. And now you see the faster auto tracking feature of the two, because this is real time.
Let's go to the beginning of the clip. It's still jumpy, but it evens out the imperfections a little bit. And this is thanks to the machine learning, because machine learning pre-predicts where the movement could be and therefore evens out such little jumpy movements in there.
Did you see that? Did you actually see that? I did not speed up the footage. This is how fast AutoTrack works in Final Cut 10.6 thanks to machine learning. It's unbelievable what they can do with something like this. Third-party auto tracking apps for now solely rely on keyframing and pixels. So essentially you're selecting a bunch of pixels, the app will go through your footage frame by frame, look for those mentioned pixels, and adjust the keyframing accordingly. Depending on how long your footage is, this is tedious and takes a huge amount of time. So the time you're saving with Apple's way with machine learning is mind-blowing. It's just a portion of the time you needed with third-party traditional apps.
Let's say you're done with your tracking, but you're not fully satisfied the way how it turned out, and the subject you want to track is not properly tracked. Well, you can adjust this later with the help of additional keyframes. So move the playhead to a point where your tracker moves off space. In this instance, we have this little dot here that is not perfectly sticking to the car. For this to fix, I'm selecting the layer I want to adjust and just add one additional keyframe here. Now I'm repositioning my frame, continue the playback, and once again, I'm repositioning it. The second time I'm repositioning the layer, you can see that there are little arrows showing up. This shows me the way how my layer will move over the time span here. So as I continue the playback and once again readjust my layer, you can see that it will extend with every additional keyframe I add. And once again, here's the last one and I'm moving it right there. So let's see how this looks now. It starts a little bit off, so we are going to fix that too. Let's see, there it comes into frame and boom, place it and you can see it adds another keyframe. Once again, playback, and now it pretty much sticks perfectly to my trackable subject. Same with the other layers. Make sure to set one initial keyframe. First select the layer, add a keyframe, start the playback, pause where you want another keyframe, adjust the framing, it once again adds another keyframe here, once again pause, adjust your layer, play, adjust your layer, and done. Third layer, same procedure, starting the playback, adding a keyframe, continue the playback to the point where it does not align anymore, adjust the layer, playback, adjust the layer, playback, once again adjusting the layer. Let's go back for a sec and once again, well, quick and dirty, but you get the point. Let's see how it now looks. Every tracker is now sticking to the individual car, and this way you can even out easily any imperfections within the tracking itself. Another thing we prior needed third-party apps for is the ability to pixelate people within our footage. For this, enter the effects browser, enter pixel, like pixelate, take it, drop it, and you see once it recognizes a face, it will automatically recommend doing face tracking, say both directions. So the auto tracking that you can see right here is happening in real time. I did not speed it up. However, I will not let you sit through it all the way, but I will show you in a moment how fast it is if you set it to machine learning only. Okay, let's see how well it was able to pixelate me. It was kind of okay. We can also adjust the effect, of course. For this, go into your effects, increase the amount, and you can have a proper pixelated person within your footage and remove them later without any hustle whatsoever. So this is really convenient. But now let's see how we can do this if we set it to machine learning. Once again, hit analyze. I'm not kidding you, this is real time. Boy, this is quick. You cannot do this with any kind of other software in this kind of speed. This is blazing fast. If you do this with whatever else software you have at home, you will not be able to do any kind of recognition or tracking with this kind of speed. No way. Once again, let's check the result. Here you go. Boom, we have a pixelated person within seconds.
So what do you think about Final Cut's new features? Are there any features you were looking for and still did not receive? What would you wish for to have in Final Cut? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked today's episode, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I see you on the flip side.
Every night I'm going on the grid, texting back, I want you, hit you up, I'm on the other side, I miss you.